Grab your drinks and have a seat. It's time for serial killers.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hi, we're here
That we are.
as per usual. I'm T,
I'm Jay.
and we're here to tell you about serial killers.
Killers.
We didn't do that very well, but that's okay.
Serial killer.
So we're here again. If you not wanting to listen about serial killers, probably not the best podcast to listen to. But if you're here because you know who we are, you're longtime listeners, thank you very much. And we will get into our stuff.
Mm-hmm. And just to let you know, all the stuff we talk about and say, we're just reporting what we read. So T does a lot of research, and she finds stuff online, and we convey that message that she finds online. So this is by no means us making things up. This is just us stating the facts and sharing with you guys about serial killers.
If you can't tell, we've had a few negative responses, which is totally fine. To be honest, every time we get a negative response, I feel like we're making it. We've made
Yeah,
it.
because I'm like, hey, people are listening.
They care enough to be upset. But, again, we'll reiterate again over and over. If I ever say something that is not factual, not because I made it up, but because it was not reported factually, because I definitely know that the media can twist and turn a lot of stuff, let me know. Let me know. And if it's a big enough deal, I'll re-record the whole entire episode if I got a lot of the facts wrong. But if I got just a few wrong, I will definitely take this time in the beginning of the episodes to correct and change whatever it is that needs to be said or whatever. So, because I'm never upset when I don't get upset by the negative feedback that I get. We're not for everybody. So, because some people just don't like the way we talk, and that's fine. And then sometimes people are upset because they're family members of, like, maybe, one of the murderers that we've done. And I can understand you being upset about it, but I'm not going to lie on your family. I'm going to tell you everything that I have personally found. And sometimes what you find on documentaries in particular are not always truthful. They can be very Hollywoodized or very changing of the facts. And so I can only tell you what I can research. So
yeah, so just tell us what we got wrong and we'll fix it. Easy.
Never have a problem.
Easy peasy.
Never have a problem with that. I'm here to do the research because I enjoy it and I love learning about things. And I'm somebody who, I've said before, I'd love to crawl into the brain of a serial killer and figure it out because it's so interesting to me. So I'd rather have the truth and the facts. So anyways, that's just a little PSA for today.
And with that PSA, the one thing we do report on that is always the truth is what we're drinking.
True. I don't know why I said that.
And for me, it's pretty basic and simple because I've been lazy and haven't went to Nespresso and got my pods. So I just have, I think this one was from Target.
They are Nespresso
they're
pods,
Nespresso,
though.
but they're not like, they're the Starbucks.
They're the only ones you can buy in the store, which is Starbucks
so I went
brand.
to Target instead of going to Nespresso just to get by because, like I said, I've been
We're
lazy.
going on vacation literally in a week, so we don't want to go and buy a bunch of pods.
It's just a light roast Starbucks with some Chobani creamer.
I believe the actual name of it is Pike Place. Did you do the blue one? It's Pike Place if it's the blue one.
The reason why I didn't say Pike Place because I can't remember.
Okay. Well, it could be the Verena. I don't know how you say it. Verana, whatever. That's the other one. Anyways, so plain old coffee.
Plain old coffee with some creamer.
Good on you, guy. I am actually drinking the same thing. But I don't drink the creamer. I drink coconut cream, like coconut cream creamer. So I am drinking the Pike Place because I do actually like the Pike Place blend. So I'm drinking the Pike Place Nespresso pod with 1 stevia, and I'm drinking some coconut cream creamer inside my coffee. So that's what I'm drinking.
Coffee. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way and we know what we're drinking, who are we talking about today?
We are talking about Lonnie David Franklin Jr.
Well,
He is nicknamed the Grim Sleeper. Dun, dun, dun.
all right. It's a good twist.
He has 10 or more victims. His murder dates are 1985 to 2007. This was in Los Angeles, California. His method of murder is shooting and strangulation, and a characteristic is rape. Lonnie was born August 30th, 1952, and he grew up in actually South Central Los Angeles. Now, there's really not very much information at all, and I mean at fucking all, available about his early childhood. Nothing about who his parents were, nothing about if he grew up with brothers, sisters, nothing about school, nothing, literally nothing. So we're going to skip forward to his adulthood because that's about where his background begins. So he was described as a hardworking man who took care of his family. He did have some small crimes at some point, but for the most part, people within his community who met him felt that he was a responsible, family-oriented man. And everyone in his neighborhood, they knew that Lonnie was the man that you went to when you needed help with your car and getting car parts, because he had a solid ass supply of car parts in his backyard.
Nice.
And he would sell them to people on the cheapity cheap.
All right.
And he would use the don't ask, don't tell policy, which I'm kind of like, okay. Like, I'm not.
Which is better
I'm
known
not
today
judging.
as Facebook Marketplace.
No, it's better known today. Well, true.
Yeah.
You'd probably be very successful. But I mean, let's get real. That means he probably stole them. But I'm not judging that, because if you're going to sell me a car part on the cheap and I don't have a lot of money to fix my car, I will definitely be buying the car part on the cheap. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it, especially in our world the way that it is right now.
If I don't know it's stolen, to me it's not illegal.
If I didn't steal it, I don't give a damn. If I didn't steal it and I bought it from you, I didn't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. And that kind of protects everybody when you do the don't ask, don't tell. Now, he did enroll in the army at a younger age, and he did get stationed in Germany for a while. So on April 21st of 1974, so you figure he was born in 52. This is 1974. He is 22 years old. Lonnie is stationed at in Germany at this point. And him and two other army men kidnap a 17-year-old girl who is walking to the train station around 12:30 a.m. Now they stop, they ask her for directions, and then they offer her a ride home, because they ask her like, hey, we're trying to find this place. And she's like, oh yeah, she gives them directions. And they're like, hey, because you're so nice, do you want us to just give you a ride home? She actually agrees to the ride home. And once she gets in the car, one of the three men hold a knife to her throat. And she is then taken to a remote location where she is raped by each man. And they took pictures of her and the attack as well. They then take her home. And she's a very smart girl. She's a very smart 17-year-old girl, because as they're dropping her off at her house, she says, basically, she's like, hey, I had a good time. Can I get your phone number? Like, she actually pretends like she's interested in these guys. And one of them is like, hell to the yes, and gives her his phone number. And so then she goes inside and she calls the police.
Not the smartest people on the block.
And she literally tells the police, like, I was just raped repeatedly by these three guys, and I happen to have a phone number of one of them, and they took pictures. Like, here's the deal. So the police actually set up a plan with her. Okay, you're going to call this number, and you're going to ask this guy to meet you at the train station so you guys can get together. And she's like, okay. The person who gave her the phone number was Lonnie. So she literally calls Lonnie's phone, tells him like, hey, do you want to meet at the train station? And he's like, sure. So she goes to the train station. The police are hiding at the train station, and she goes there to wait. And when he shows up, the police arrest him. Now, David is arrested, tried.
Lonnie.
I put David because his middle name is David. Okay. Lonnie is arrested, tried, and convicted of rape and kidnapping charges. And he gets sentenced to 40 months in prison. Now, this is Germany, folks. He serves less than a year. I don't know why. As a matter of fact, they even say in here, in the research, they're not sure why he got out of prison because the other two guys served their whole entire sentences and did not get released. So he was the only one who got released early. And for rape and kidnapping charges. I don't know why. And also 40 months does not seem like that long.
It's a little less than 4 years, like 3.5 years.
Right. 3.5 years doesn't seem very long for rape and kidnap. Germany, get your shit together. Like that seems like really a very light sentence for somebody who did something so terrible. So then on July 14th of 1975, he actually gets dishonorably just discharged from the army. Clearly. What also is weird, though, is the fact that they didn't bring him up, or the other two guys even, that they didn't bring them up on charges in military court.
Yeah.
Because I thought normally when you break the law while you're still in military, you go to, but I guess it was Germany. Maybe they do things differently. I don't fucking know. Anyways.
Maybe it was like with it being off base, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know what
I thought
the
that was
rules
weird.
are.
Now, he does end up getting married in 1986, and he does have 2 children. And again, he is reported by his neighbors as being a very nice person. So at this point, he has his life. This is when he's doing like helping his neighbors. This is when he's got the car parts. He's got his family. He also would reportedly buy gifts for his elderly neighbors' birthdays. So like when it was their birthday, he'd like bring them a gift. He would attend graduation ceremonies of other kids in the neighborhood that were not his kids. Like he was a full functioning, highly like respected neighbor, and a much nicer neighbor than like I personally am, because I don't get along. I don't not get along. I don't really associate with my neighbors. I'm just not an associate type. Okay. Jay does. I do not. Now his marriage is not perfect. Okay. Which really nobody's marriage ever is. They kind of do the whole split up, get back together thing. That's the vibe of their marriage. So they'll like break up, split up, go their separate ways for a little while, get back together, right? Now, nowhere did I see anything though about like abuse or anything like that. I just think they genuinely didn't get along sometimes, and they would take breaks from each other. Now, during this time that him and his wife would be on the outs, like when they would not be with each other, he was such a good guy that he apparently would still take care of his mother-in-law who was ill. So even though him and his wife were not talking or not together, he still took on his responsibilities, like truthfully took on his responsibilities. Also, he was a good father. He took care of his kids. He paid for the shit his kids needed. He taught them how to fix the cars. He taught them how to drive. Overall, he was said to be a really good guy. You would not think we're talking about a serial killer by this point.
Right.
Because when I was researching, I'm sitting there going, and where's the bad? What made him do the things that he did? Why? I'm confused. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still confused. Even after doing the research, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Just very good at concealing his inner demons.
I don't know, man. Like there's times where you kind of are like, are you sure you got the right guy? This is one of those times where you're like, are you sure you got the right guy? But I'm sure they got the right guy. But I'm just saying, like in my brain, I'm like, I don't understand how he was able to, I don't know. He also for a long time, he worked as a garbage man. So that was one of his jobs. And at one point in his career, he actually even worked with the police department, working with their cars. So like, again, like nothing at all strikes me as like, ooh, he's kind of creepy. Oh, we should watch out for him. And people, this is why I don't talk to people I don't know. This is exactly why, because this guy right here would be the kind of guy that I'd strike up a friendly conversation with if I did something like that. And I mean, I wasn't his type to murder, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like he had a specific type, and it's kind of like behind closed doors. It sounds like he was actually a decent guy. No domestic violence arrests, no
it
drug
sounds
addiction.
like in front of the closed doors, he was a nice guy. Behind closed doors,
No,
sounds like he was a monster.
No, because in my mind, behind closed doors is like with his family. And he seemed like he was great with his family too. He had inner demons, clearly, but it's just this right here is the kind of person that's like, I want to talk to you. I want to know, like, was your childhood terrible? Did something really bad happen in your childhood? Or were you just born with this weird, like, what is it? Because this is not your average serial killer. Normally there's like a backstory you can normally kind of key on things. Not him. So on August 10th, 1985, Deborah Jackson, who's 29 years old, her body is found in Vermont, Suisun. Now, she had been shot 3 times in the chest and she was dumped in an alleyway. And police initially think that her murder is drug related, as they usually do, because she happens to be a fucking sex worker.
Yep.
And she had a drug problem. So they kind of like, whatever. Then on August 12th, 1986, Henrietta Wright, who's 34, her body is found in Hyde Park under a mattress, and she had been shot twice in the chest. Then on August 14th, 1986, Thomas Steele, who was 36, was found in Harvard Park. This is 2 days, two days apart, 2 bodies. The first body was the year before. Then on January 10th, 1987, so this is the next year, Barbara Ware, who's 23, is found in Central Alameda, and she is shot in the chest once. Then April 15th, 1987, Bernita Sparks, who is 26, her body is found in Gramercy Park. She has been shot once in the chest. Now, by this point, it's been 2 years, and you've got 5 murders, all with the same type of MO. First of all of them but one are female. All of them but one are black females. All of them are prostitutes or drug addicted people. And all of them.
So if you take out the one male,
then they're all the same.
4 are all the same.
And all of them have been shot in the chest once, twice, or 3 times. All of them. There is nothing different about them. So you would think by this point, you're like, ooh, there might be a problem here. On November 1st, 1987, Mary Lowe, who is 26, her body is also found in Gramercy Park. And she is also shot in the chest just 1 time. So now this is another person found in the same park that this other person had been found in. Then January 30th, 1988, Lucretia Jefferson, she's 22. Her body is found in Westmount. And she has been shot in the chest twice. Now, this time, the killer had placed a napkin over her face, and there was a word written on it, and the word said AIDS. And it was written on the napkin that was placed over her face. Then on September 11th, 1988, Alice Monique and Alexander, who was 18, her body is found in Vermont Square. She has been shot twice in the chest. Now, by 1988, they kind of knew that they had a serial killer in the area by this time because, again, they're realizing, first of all, there's all these people who are kind of getting killed the same way. Some of them are being put in the same places, right? It's the same, 5 parks or whatever. But they also were able to identify through DNA matches that 7 of these women on their breasts had the same DNA, not belonging to, obviously, the women. However, DNA technology in 1988 was not what it is today, so they don't know who the DNA belongs to, but they are able to link together 7 murders, all with the same DNA. So at this point, they know they have a serial killer. Now, on November 20th of 1988, Henrietta Washington, who's 30 years old, she's walking to a friend's home, and this black man pulls up to her in an orange Ford Pinto, offers her a ride, which she's like, no, I'm good. Thank you very much. He completely follows her with his car and continues to pester her till she finally, and she keeps saying nope, I'm good. Thank you. And he ends up snapping at her and says, that's what's wrong with you black women. People can't be nice to you. So she gets annoyed with him and she's like, fine, I'll fucking get in the car. So she gets in the car to just go take a ride with this guy. Almost immediately, she gets a gun pulled on her and she is shot in the chest. She asks him why he shot her in the chest, to which he tells her, because you disrespected me. So he then rapes her, takes her pictures, and pushes her out of the car to die. But the joke is on him because badass Henrietta fights like hell to live. And she actually ends up getting help and she is brought to the hospital. Now, once she's at the hospital, she gives details to the police and a police sketch is produced of this guy that attacked her. The bullet is also removed from her chest, and the police are able to confirm that this bullet now matches all the other victims that they had found with the bullet with the shot that had been shot in the chest. So at this time, because we've talked about this before, this is 1988. What was the problem in 1988 in LA?
Riots.
No, maybe.
No, there's multiple serial killers.
There were several serial killers in the LA area, which again, we've talked about this a million times. So for them, One of the things that was kind of a positive is they were like, well, we already have a list of people that we can look into for these, all these different people who could be potentials, because we know who some of these people, some of them had been caught already. Some of them were still being, looked at, but so they needed to find ones that had similar MOs and similar victim types. Then it goes dead. There's that's it. That 1988, after Henrietta is shot and survives, there are no murders until March 19th of 2002. Now, Princess Bartholomew is 15 and her body is found in Inglewood, and she has now been strangled to death. So it's a totally different MO. July 11th, 2003, Valerie McCorvey, who is 35, she was found in Westmont, and she had also been strangled to death. Then January 1st of 2007, Janisha Peters, who is 27, her body is found in Gramercy Park, and she had been shot once in the back. Now, if you think about it, not Princess because she was in Inglewood, but Valerie was found in Westmont. Janisha was found in Gramercy Park, which are places where Lonnie had actually killed before. Now, in May of 2007, Janisha Peters' murder was being investigated because, again, she was killed in January. So by May, they're investigating this as a murder because she was shot in the back. And it is linked through DNA. So they find DNA on her body, and they're like, okay, well, let's throw it in the system. And it is linked to 11 other unsolved murders dating all the way back to 1985. So now they know that this one person is responsible for these 11 murders. So in September of 2008, LA officials actually announced that they have a $500,000 reward to help catch the killer, because they're just like struggling. They have no idea who this DNA belongs to, which again, we're in 2007, 2008. So that means that whoever this person is, they have not been put into any sort of position where they had to give DNA, because they can only run it through CODIS and shit.
Right.
And there's nothing at all that they can, figure out. Well, in 2008, a man named Christopher Franklin, which happens to be Lonnie's son, is arrested for a felony charge. And in the state of California, as with Washington, if you are arrested for a felony, you have to give DNA when you are put into prison. You are now and forever in the prison system where if you are arrested, you have to give it. So he actually has to give DNA and put into the database. And they happen to be running the DNA. They put his DNA in as a felon, run the DNA, and end up finding that there's a partial familiar match to DNA already in the system for 11 murders. And when they start adding it up, they're like, well, he can't be responsible for it because he's too young. Those 1985 murders he couldn't have done. He wouldn't, that he'd be too young to kill these women. So this leads them to go, but his father. So they start thinking Lonnie may be their serial killer. So police start following Lonnie. They start building a case against Lonnie. At one point, they pretend to be a waiter at a restaurant where he was eating, and they collected his dishes and trash from his table, and they take all of that to a DNA lab and try to pull DNA from anything from what he had eaten. And they were actually able to use a piece of fucking pizza. He had an unfinished piece of pizza that they'd end up finding.
That's why you finish your food.
But for reals, like in my brain, I'm like, okay, I'm clearly not a scientist, because I'm sitting there going, you can separate out the DNA from like off of somebody's piece of pizza? Like, I mean, I'm sure it's all different, but like, wow. Like, that's impressive to me, because they took this piece of pizza and how did you find DNA? I don't know. They just took a piece of pizza and cut it off and then like, I don't know. I don't know.
Mouth was hitting.
Well, no, I know that. But I'm saying, like, how do you even think to look at the like, I don't get it.
Science.
Exactly. And I'm not a science person. So, but they were able to find DNA off of a piece of pizza. And this DNA actually comes up as a match to the 11 murders that they had found that they had the DNA for. So Lonnie is arrested on July 7th of 2010, and he is actually charged with 10 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder for Henrietta. Now, due to the size of the case, this trial has a ton of setbacks, because it's not just like 10 murders. It's 10 murders over the span of like 15 or 20 years or whatever. Actually, even more than that. It's like 25 years. So they're trying to like piece together all the information that they can. Well, on December 16th, 2010, LAPD end up releasing 180 photos of women, pictures of women that they had found when they searched Lonnie's apartment, or not his home. All of these women, these 180 women, were unidentified, and they were thinking they're possible victims of his because he took pictures of every woman that he attacked.
Yeah.
And so some of the pictures that they showed out, or that they showed, were women, they were unconscious in their picture. Like you could tell they were not awake. And then there were others that looked awake. And so they basically put this out to the public.
If this is you, let us know.
Yeah. Or if you know who this person is, like if this person's missing, let us know. Because 180 women, that's a lot of women. That's a lot of photos to have of. That's a lot of photos.
Yeah.
So in total, the investigators ended up actually finding over 1,000 photos and several hundred hours worth of video in his home as well. So the 180 photos they put out were the unidentified ones. They had found 1,000 photos, which means the rest of them they were able to identify, because it's not just one it's not one picture per victim. He would take multiple pictures. Like he would so what it sounds like is in the process of his attacks, raping them, he would take pictures of them while he was in the process of it, before, after, and have a boatload of pictures of one woman. And then he would do that for multiples. And so the 180 photos that they released were 180 women, but they had 1,000 photos of all the women that he had attacked with multiple views, I guess, of the woman. And like I said, hundreds of hours of video. And the video is, I'm assuming, because they don't go into detail, but I'm assuming it has to do with maybe not necessarily the rape, but again,
part of the process
that he would do, because that's what he did. So on November 3rd of 2011, police announced that Lonnie is suspected in at least 6 more killings above the 10 that they were charging him with. Then on February 16th of 2016, his trial finally starts. So it took him 6 years to start his trial, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they probably just kept digging and digging and
that's
digging
what
to
I
see
think.
what they could add to it.
I think part of it was they were like, hold on, we've got 10. Can we get any more? We'd like to get justice. Well, I want to pretend like they wanted to get justice. And I'm talking like the prosecuting attorneys, but I think they just wanted to build the biggest case they could. So on May 5th of 2016, Lonnie is found guilty on all of the charges, and he is sentenced to death on June 6th, 2016. Then on March 28th of 2020, Lonnie is actually found dead in his cell, and he was 67 years old. Now, there were no signs of any trauma to his body. However, they have never publicly released his cause of death. So nobody actually knows how he died. They didn't say it was natural causes. They didn't say anything. They just said in the preliminary, there was no visible trauma to his body. I don't know. He was 67 years old. It's very viable that he could have just died from natural causes.
Yeah, could have had a heart attack.
He's also in jail for rape and murder. Something else could have happened. We don't know.
And with that many people and that many pictures,
yeah, you never know.
Could have been a relative in there of
Right.
one of the people.
Correct. So that's the main story of Lonnie the Grim Sleeper Franklin Jr. Would you like some shots?
Absolutely.
Okay. These were some of the victims that they actually decided after he was arrested that they believe that he is suspected of. So Sharon Dismuke, who was 21, her body was found January 15th, 1984, which means his 1985 that he got charged with, which is believed to be his first kill, may not have actually been his first kill. Then Inez Warren, who was 28, her body was found August 15th, 1988. Georgia Tomas, she was 43. Her body was found December 28th, 2000. Ayala Marshall, who was 18, she went missing February 1st, 2005, and her body has never been found, but they were able to link him to her through MOs and stuff. So they believe that he is responsible for her disappearance. Rolenia Morris, she went missing September 10th of 2005. Her body has also never been found. And again, they linked her through MO and things like that. Now, the police came under heavy heavy fucking criticism for this specific serial killer. And it is because I told you in 1988. So his known first murder was 1985. By 1988, they knew he had killed 7 women. Remember, because they linked them all together through DNA. They knew there was a serial killer. But they neglected to alert the public. They neglected to tell anybody in South Central that there was a fucking serial killer. And so they knew that young black women who were in the sex trade industry and addicted to drugs were being targeted and murdered. And they kept tight-lipped about it and didn't say shit. So if you can think for just 1 second, had they fucking said something, how many lives would have been spared? There would have been at least 5 women, maybe even 6 women that lives could have potentially been spared. Because if you would have made the public aware, if you would have made the girls who were in the sex trade industry aware, we've seen this in other cases where when you make it known, hey, we think there's a serial killer targeting women that are prostitutes, what do those prostitutes do? They stop working in that area and they move to somewhere else. They'll still maybe be in the sex trade industry, but they're going to go not in the area where the serial killer exists. So not making it known is frustrating to me. And I am not naive enough to think that it had nothing to do with the fact that these were black women who happened to be prostitutes.
Well, and that's just the ones we know of, too. With all of
Correct.
his pictures and everything, there might be a lot more.
And all of his victims, literally all of them, were black women. And the man who was killed was also a black man. But my point is that I am not naive enough to think that the LAPD chose to keep tight-lipped for any reason other than the fact that these are black prostitutes. I mean, prostitutes in general, they keep tight-lipped about, but we're talking about this is the 80s. I just feel like it's South Central. I feel like at that time, I did read one thing where they said at that time, South Central had started to become known as a dangerous place, a poor place. And so Los Angeles was kind of like dividing themselves off of South Central anyway. So I feel like they just work. I feel like it was one of those like, whatever, no big deal, because of who was being targeted, not because of anything else.
Yeah, because I can't really fathom a viable reason not to warn people.
No. And to be honest with you, I do question if it would have been white prostitutes in somewhere like, I don't know, Hollywood or Beverly Hills, would it have been well known? Probably. So and they should have been under criticism because that's really fucking shitty. You could have saved a lot of people's lives. It doesn't matter. Again, it's my frustration beyond frustrations. It doesn't matter if they were drug addicts. It doesn't matter if they were prostitutes. It doesn't matter if they were black. What matters is that you could have saved these women's lives by giving them a warning. And then if you warn them, they have the ability to save themselves. They have the ability to make different choices, not necessarily getting out of the trade, not necessarily stopping drug use. But I'm talking like going and working in a different area until they catch the serial killer. Like, it's always dangerous when you do these jobs, right? But if you at least give them a warning, you can help them or try to. So this case was also featured on America's Most Wanted because they couldn't figure out who this guy was. And in check this 2003, Lonnie is actually arrested and convicted of a felony in 2003. Normally, they were, you would think, well, how come his DNA wasn't in the system if he was arrested and convicted of a felony? Well, that is because in 2003, it was not a law to take DNA from felons. Not a law. It was not required. Had it been a law, that's at least 2 women that would have been saved, right? Because after he got out of prison, he killed at least 2 more girls. But it was not a law. That law actually passed in 2004. So he missed it by 1 year. And I found when I was doing my research, again, just another example of why the fuck we don't do shit correctly. When that law passed in 2004, they were supposed to go to the felons in the prisons and collect DNA. Well, guess who was still in prison at that time? That would be Lonnie. And guess who did not get his DNA taken because they just didn't get fucking around to it till after he got out.
Probably wasn't very high on the list.
Like, I don't understand.
But also,
it doesn't take that long to take DNA. You take a fucking swab on the inside of their cheek. Like, why didn't you just line up all the felons, all the people in every prison, take 1 day and take every prisoner who has a felony conviction and swab their fucking cheeks. And then put them in the system. But it wasn't a priority. And so he gets out before they never got around to taking his DNA. Again, you could have saved 2 women. Because he would have been at that point, his DNA would have been run and he would have been caught for 9 murders at that time. So for him to be able to go back out, he kills 2 more people. Like my brain does not. And I always question. They took Henrietta's statement. They had a whole entire, what do you call that? Sketch. Nobody just like, we didn't look at the sketch compared to any of the people in prison either. I don't understand.
That's probably a lot of people and just not a lot of manpower to do it.
I don't get it.
Well, and I'm curious if this is in your shots, but the reason for the almost 20-year gap.
It's funny that you say that. That's my next shot. So he was nicknamed the Grim Sleeper because of his it was actually a 13-year hiatus from killing. So he took 13 years off. So they nicknamed him the Grim Sleeper because it was like he killed and then like woke back up, right? However, detectives do not believe that he actually ever stopped killing. They just think he got better at getting rid of the bodies.
And that's where those pictures and stuff come into play. Like,
yes, and that's why.
No way.
That's why they say that, because they're like, we have 180 women that we don't know who they are. We don't know if they're alive. We don't know if they're dead. We don't have people coming forward to claim them. So there is a very good chance that these people that he has these pictures of were other prostitutes that maybe don't have family members connected to them. And if you're somebody who does drugs, your physical body changes with drugs. So people may not even recognize the women in the photo as their family members. And they said, the amount of people that we have found, there's no way, shape, or form we think he actually stopped killing. We just think he either killed somewhere else or got better at hiding the bodies, got rid of the bodies in different ways. But what blows my mind is what made him go back to putting them in parks.
Right.
If he took 13 years of killing people and getting rid of their bodies differently, why all of a sudden did he start leaving them in parks again? I'm not really sure on that.
I mean, the world grows. And especially down in LA, I'm sure during that time it was a boom. There was just running out of places to put, so he went back to what he knew.
Well, and he must have been in jail. I mean, he was obviously in jail for a little bit of the time because he was arrested in 2003 and had a felony conviction. So, I mean, there's also that with his 13-year hiatus, but he was not in jail for 13 years. I'll say it like that. And he was living his life like with his family and, doing the thing that way. So it's like, do I think that he just stopped killing? No, I don't. I don't think he just stopped killing either. I just think that he went through a phase where he was able to dispose of the bodies easier. Some people have actually thought, and to be fair, it's definitely a viable thought. He was a garbage man. He knew all the places you could dump bodies and never have them found. He knew all the places that would be abandoned. And being a garbage man, he could literally have gotten rid of them by putting them in the garbage. I mean, literally putting them in the garbage and picking them up. So there is that thought too. People have brought that up and said, well, because he was a garbage man for so long, like, how do we know he wasn't using that job as a way to get rid of bodies? And it's like, listen, that's a fair fucking assumption. Mm-hmm. Fair fucking assumption. Barbara Ware's stepmother said after he died, she said, I won't say I'm pleased that he died, but at the end, there was justice for all of the bad things he did in his life, and we can now be at peace. And finally, his surviving victim, Henrietta, she actually was able to face him. Like, actually sat down and was able to, probably I'm assuming at his trial, she was actually able to face him, and she said, and I quote, "You are truly a piece of evil. You're a Satan representative. You are right up there with Manson."
Well, I mean, at least she gets that opportunity and that closure.
I agree.
So that's good for her.
I agree. Because your life is forever changed, right? So she gets to speak for all the victims who don't get to speak. She survived and she gets to tell the story. And this is how I know they didn't get the wrong man. So remember how I said earlier, I'm like, are we sure it's not? Because he's got such a good, outer personality, but DNA, 11 DNA matches, and a fucking witness that had happened to her that can actually sit there and say, like, nope, that's the guy who attacked me. You have the right guy. And so it's just like, he is the one, even though he died, that I would have loved to try to talk to. Or again, not because I want to sympathize with him. I want to know, like, why? Like, why? I want to know why. Like, genuinely, I want to know why. He reminds me a lot of the one that was in Spokane, the serial killer in Spokane that literally killed just prostitutes as well, because he also was a family. He had a family and all this stuff, and people were blown away and shocked by him being a serial killer. And it's like, but why? Like, why are we, what happened? Or again, is this one of those things that you grew up in a fine household, but you just had this urge to kill women?
Yeah.
Or was it you killed them because you were raping them and didn't want to get caught? I don't know.
Yeah, those are always the things. It's like, to be able to find out why you chose who you chose, what was the driving force behind it.
Yeah. Yep.
And, did you drive by people going, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
And you look like, nope, not that one.
Yeah.
Nope, not that one.
Right.
Like,
well, because he clearly had a type.
Right.
And again, a lot of the time serial killers do aim to go after prostitutes because they won't be missed in their mind. They won't be missed. They're harder to identify, and they know for damn sure the police aren't going to search it. They know for damn sure the police are not going to take prostitutes being murdered as seriously as anybody else. So they can get away with killing 5 or 6 prostitutes before police actually go, oh, I guess we probably have to deal with this. I mean, LAPD in 1988 was proof of that. They knew of a serial killer. They verified that it was a serial killer and chose to keep quiet about it. So they know because of that he was able to kill more people. And it's like, if I'm a serial killer and I just want to kill people, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go after the vulnerable, and I'm going to go after the people that most likely will take a long time to be reported missing. I'm going to go after the people that I know the police don't care that much about. I just will. Which is why it's like, my brain does not wrap around that. I will never understand we pick and choose who we actually want to help. We're going to pick and choose who we want to focus on. Like, every person who is killed is a human being. Every fucking murderer is a human being. Every person in the world is a human being, and every single human being in the world deserves the fucking most basic shit. And it's just not, it's so annoying to get cases like this. But again, Lonnie himself had me tricked. Like, I was doing the research, like, I feel like this guy, I'm not, he's in my serial killer book, so he's got to be a serial killer. But as I'm reading everything about him, I'm going, but I'm not seeing it. Like, I'm not seeing it. And he is the reason why I don't associate with people I don't know. Because he's the guy. Manson, I say it all the time. I watch documentaries on Manson, and I can tell you right now, Charlie Manson, I would have joined his goddamn cult in a heartbeat if I was alive in the 70s. I will guarantee you I would be hanging out, and I'd be in jail right now with the Manson family. That's exactly where I'd be, because he was a charming individual, and I absolutely would have fallen into that trap. I know that. So it's like, this is why I don't trust myself to talk to people, because I also, when I talk to people in public, I tell them my life story because I get so nervous.
So let's say it like it is. It's not the people. It's you.
Oh, and it's me. I know. I tell my life, like, we went and picked up medications at Costco, and I don't know, the lady was so nice, the cashier, and I'm like, we're getting ready to go up to Seattle. Now we're going to go to Disneyland. And I told her my whole life
Here's
story.
my itinerary. Blah, blah, blah,
told
blah,
her my
blah,
whole
blah,
life
blah,
story
blah,
in
blah,
literally like 5 minutes. And Jay always looks at me like, shut the fuck up. Like, I can't.
Shut it down.
I literally cannot not diarrhea of the mouth when I see people. And it's because I have like social anxiety. So it's like.
I mean, if you really think about it, listen to our podcast. At the end, when we wrap things up,
I don't stop talking.
This is where you like to just kind of spill things. Now, you're not really going into detail about our lives and stuff, but you get on a roll. And because you're an introvert, you don't do it very often. But when you do, it's like a snowball going downhill, right? Like,
it's so true.
Picking up pace.
It's so true. I'm awful. But again,
I got to step in front of the snowball.
Yes,
like, shut it
This
down.
is why I can't be trusted to go anywhere by myself, because I will literally come home with some strangers probably being like, oh, these are my best friends now. I let them in our car. I drove them places. So this is why I don't open my door to strangers, and I don't talk to strangers in public.
This is why you don't be an Uber driver.
I'll never be an Uber driver. Absolutely not. Nope. That shit freaks me out. I also don't ride in Ubers for the same reason.
Yeah.
So
with that
being said, Thank you very much for listening to us. If you liked what you hear, make sure you're following us. If you're not following us, again, click the follow button, click the plus button, whatever it is that whatever you're listening to, there's a way. And the benefit of clicking that plus button or that follow button is that you will get a message from whatever your app is every Thursday at midnight that says, Fatal Blend just posted a new episode, and now you don't have to search for us. Now it just automatically, you just open your app and click to your favorites and you can listen to. Other than that, socials, hit us up if you want to have a conversation and, hang out with us sometime. Never in person, but, on socials is fine. Okay, I'm going to stop. Thank you so much for listening to me tell you about this. Thank you so much for listening to me tell you about the story of Lonnie Franklin Jr., the Grim Sleeper. Until next.
Lonnie David Franklin.
I wasn't going
Jr.
to. Yes, it is Lonnie David Franklin Jr.
Well, I just said you threw the David out there enough. You might as well throw it in now.
I did. Until next week. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Remember to lock your doors and bar your windows. Until next time.